Well, the week has been extremely quiet. What we've noticed is that illiquidity and lack of supply of bills continues to be the driver of the market. In the MTB space, we're basically seeing client-driven order, mainly retail side. However, since the opening of the retail saving bonds on Monday, we've seen those volumes move to that asset class. However, there was an MTB auction today. The results just came out that the CBN rolled over on behalf of the DMO about 57 billion that matured today. We saw stop rates come down lower on the 182-day and 364-day bill marginally. The almost space as well remains relatively quiet. We keep seeing bids. However, we see the marketplace are willing to sell because of the fact that there is the issue of reinvestment risk. The CBN hasn't offered an OMO auction in about 4 weeks now, so because of that, people are a bit cautious. With CRR debit last week, market was basically low on liquidity, so we expect that OMO maturity coming in tomorrow and expectations of FAC will probably continue to support the market. In the bond space, there was a sell-off last week, and we saw that taper this week. The week basically started off mixed, or more of a little bullish sentiment. And most of the activities were around the auction papers, where we've now seen them trading back at the auction levels following the sell of last week. So we see a bit of cherry picking in the bond space, in the mid and long end. The DMO also released the bond auction specular for August, and they showed there that they were going to increase their offering by 20 billion. That really didn't have much of a reaction in the market. The market just continues to observe.
What about the FX space and how are things playing out there? And do you expect to see more pressure in the parallel markets as well?
The FX space continues to be under a lot of demand pressure. We haven't seen liquidity or supply improve in that space. The CBN continues to intervene only in the retail space and supply invincible and SMEs. So the pressures continue to persist. Last week we saw there was an export proceeds that came in, so that helped supply a bit, but this week we haven't seen anything. So that liquidity still persists in that space. The parallel market continues to be under pressure because we're seeing that players who are not able to fill their demand in the INE space are now pushing that demand to the parallel market, so that we continue to see that under pressure. However, given the fact that the CBN is not intervening as much as they used to before, I'm still of the opinion that once the CBN comes back fully into the market and increases supply, that we would see the FX space probably quiet down and find a more stable level.
All right, let's go back to the bond space. And what do you think you can expect will change sentiment in that area?
Sorry, could you say that again?
Looking at the bond space, what do you think could change the sentiment in that space and going in the medium term?
Well, we have OMO maturities of 87 billion coming in. And given the fact that we haven't yet gotten to the point where the maturities coming in are only for banks and FPIs, we'll probably see that spur a bit of bullish sentiment. We also expect coupon payments later on in the month, so that would also help bullish sentiment. There's a bond auction next week, like I said, so the market is basically going to be cautious going into the bond auctions, trying to get guidance.
All right, but on liquidity, what do you think is the play going into next week?
Liquidity now is up about 200 billion today, system liquidity. Like I said, we expect the OMO maturity, so that would boost the liquidity a bit. There's also anticipation of back payments later this week or maybe early next week. So we expect the liquidity would remain relatively good this week, going into next week, and that would spur activities in the fixed income space.